Well, welcome, everybody. This is a new podcast that I am promoting out. It's your spiritual food health clinic, and I'm going to be coming with some in-depth topics about what we need to do with our food when it relates to the spiritual side too. But I want to note that I am not a doctor. I'm not a professional in this, so this is only for entertainment. So we're going to get that out the way so we'll know that we're just doing this as a topic. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things to help you, get across this journey, what we call this food pandemic. We find a lot of people have struggles with this and not knowing what to do. So I just want y'all to see my attire, but I'm going to take these glasses off. But this is something that I am very serious about, and I'm going to give you a little bit background about myself because how I got here, and it's very amazing that I took this journey because I never thought I would need to go down this path because, like I said, I have been really small in nature since childhood, high school, and stuff like that. But there's been a time where we get to a point of our life where food, it just gets out of hand for us. And I've been there, and when I grew up, they called me Sticks. So I have been small pretty much all my life, but there was a challenge that I had in my life, and this is why I'm talking about on the spiritual side, because it has relevance to that nature of what food does for us. And that is one of the things that I found very challenging in through this endeavor because, like I said, I've been there, done that, and I got the receipts. But what I did here, one reason why I got on this journey, I'm not going to go too far back. We'll break it down in more podcast videos. But just to give you the basics of what where I'm going is I had challenges, with my weight. I had got over 200 pounds, as I got older. I felt things feeling different in my body. Just waking up, you find yourself, not feeling, where's this ache and pain coming from? So we're getting into a point where like we notice our body changing. And, like I said, I always been small, and then, we see the pictures, we see ourselves getting bigger. And that was one thing that I always said, to myself and if any person I was with in a relationship, if you see me getting out of hand with my weight, please wake me up. Please tell me. But sometimes we don't have that in our lives, or people just overlook it, or they just, when you're so close in their area, you find yourself, not noticing a whole lot. But when somebody that haven't seen you in a long time, you're like, wow, you have changed. So we don't see it as clear. So one of the things that I did was one of my guy at my former employer, he told me about this thing, and because he was like, Adrian, I want you to try this because, it was almost like a bet. He was like, I want you to try this. And what it was, he said, this is a competition, this bodybuilder, they do this when they need to lose weight and they get ready for the competition. They get on this little program. And I was like, And mind you, this was probably, if I would just guess, probably about 25 years ago, somewhere around there, 25, 30 years ago. And what it was about, he said, most people won't last 1 or 2 days on this. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this? He got my interest because, I had, candy and everything. It was close to Halloween, and I had it out there for my students when they come through, in my office, hey, and I'll pick on it too. So what it was, I asked him, I said, what is this? Because back then we had a lot of diet phase, it was like, okay, South Beach, we had the Atkins, we had all kinds of stuff that I was aware of, but I never participated in because, that wasn't my mindset. And he was like, there's no title, there's no nothing. I was like, that's kind of strange. So he broke it down what it was, and I'm like, man, that's like, what is that on your what left on the plate that I can eat? Because this is definitely not something I'm accustomed to. But when he said as a challenge, it piqued my interest and I started to do it. I said, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. And that was one of the things that motivated me to flip on this side of the program where I'm on. And just to backtrack a little bit before, I had two of my best friends at a young age when I was in my early 20s, and they passed away, and they was fairly healthy, but they had complications. One was a kidney problem, the other one was, he had the cancer. So, and he was teaching me to start doing stuff right for my body, and that made me aware. It's like, oh, my guy is healthy, looking like athletic build, like I'm looking now. He's like, I don't see no fat on his bones. What could have happened? So he was giving me some insights, some planting seeds, I said back then, of what I needed to do to going, to better my health in the future. And, like everybody else, I'm like, I'm not hearing that. I'm not there. I'm not trying to do that right now. But our decisions, turns into consequences if we let it go unchecked. So that's what I'm here for you. I'm trying to bring that awareness to you. And you probably asking, well, Adrian, what was that? What was that you're talking about? It was pretty much, did a, I was working on a project and I ended up going to the library because my friend never told me what this thing was. And I opened up a book and it was like, and the book was sitting right on the table. So you know how this is divine, happening. So I opened it up and just didn't even look at the title. I'm just flipping through the pages and I'm just like, wow, this is exactly what I'm doing. I said, how is this a coincidence? I'm like, so when that happened, it was pretty much, living a diabetic life because that was the recipe of what got me in this journey where I was doing, and we're going to show you how I evolved from that. But that was my starting point, and that was an initiation for me. And I am like, okay, I'm looking at myself. I'm really not a diabetic, but I always remember my friend. He said, Adrian, this is what you need to do. So when I do something like this, I always have a remembrance of my buddy. So Johnny Mims, Damon, this is something that I want to do, in honor of you guys, because you have really opened my eyes to my health awareness. So this is what we need to do. So the thing was, I'm like, wow, I now can be an advocate. So this is my mission. So I can teach people how to do this because it's a mental thing, and that's why we're going to tap in on the spiritual side. It's a mental thing that we need to get involved with to overcome these obstacles. For those that are serious, we don't want to wait until we have major complication where we have to do it, and that's what I'm showing you here. I didn't have to do that, but I chose it. I made sure I wanted to be around. Now I got a grandchild. I was like, I want to be around for my kids. I want to be around for that. And I need to start making some adjustments. I need to make some changes. So that's what we're doing here. And this is what the Spirit has brought into my realm of reality, that I need to do something like this. And I'm still going to do the other stuff, but this is very important. And I'm showing you as a main person that's doing it himself, that is doing self-study with his own body. So I am definitely here for you. So what I want you to do is definitely, as we go along, I'll have questions for you to answer. You can send it to my email. I'll give that to you later on today. So this is what I want. I want you to know that there is someone out there that's looking out for you, that wants to see the change that you can have for your life, for your whole circumstance. It changes your whole lifestyle. And that's what we need to make this a permanent lifestyle. It's not about the diet phase. It's not all about the things that I've mentioned before. It's about you making a conscious decision and saying, hey, I want to do better with myself. And a lot of times we don't have the support that we need to make this happen. And I was doing this on my own, so I know how that feels when you out here on here struggling. You're trying to figure out what to do, how to manage this, how to work through this problem. And when life happens, what we turn to. We turn to our food. So what we need to do, that's why the food is very important in how we operate it through our lives. And right now, as men and women, we need to work on ourselves. And that's the topic what I'm bringing forth. And it's going to open up the door for a lot of other stuff where we're going to talk more about the food and how it affects our body and what we need to do to alter those changes. And we're going to get there. So I worked on myself for so long. Like I said, when Johnny gave me that that seed, because he would actually make the meal for me. But we still had some of the other stuff, but it was just the idea that he put the effort in there and he wanted to ensure, Adrian, that I don't go down that road. I need to make a difference because, a lot of times we don't notice our body and the changes that it's making. And that's what we got to do. Like I said, working on ourselves, we're in tune with our body. And that's like what I want to use here at this point. We need to procreate healthiness. And how we do that, we got to listen to our body. And everybody is on a different path. We're on a different road, but we're still trying to end up around the same results. So that's what we're going to bring in this podcast. That's the goal. We're going to start where you are. You're going to start doing the things, making the adjustment, making the changes that you need to overcome that obstacle. And what that's going to do is going to change everything around you. Talking about changing your environment, changing your life, changing your outcome, changing your spirit, all that matters. And I'm going to give you the motivation. You see that smile? Motivation to help you overcome those challenges. And I'm working with a friend now. They had a surgery, and she was telling me how it is, and I was just like, well, those type of things, is still, you still got to do the work. That's, it's a quick fix, but a lot of times we don't have the patience, and that's about working on ourselves. We got to have the patience to do this. Like I did that. My belly used to be way out here. It probably would have sat on this table in the past, but those are things I slowly adjusted. And I'll give you the story on that. You wait till you hear that story. That'll be another podcast. It's so funny, but that right there just like made me so mad and furious, and how I got teased for that. But but that's something I'm going to share with you. But like I said, working on yourself, it is so important, and it helps you in every aspect of your life, because that's something we continue to do. Where we go through changes, life happens, we have different relationships, we have different things that goes on with our kids, we have different things that goes on with our jobs. But when we look at what's centered around everything that we experience in life, is our food, our spirit, our body. We can't get away from that. So why not make the adjustment and make that our forefront position that we need to be in. I'm channeling this message as I go along, so I might have some pauses. So I'm trying to do this in a format that is shareable to you guys. Working on ourselves. It's vital to our success and to our sustainability as far as this life, because our body it's only temporary. It's like I said, I got a quote here. Your spirit is of God and your body is of earth. So we know our body has to go back to the earth. But what is the earth? The earth has the food and the nutrients that we need. And that's when I talked about my buddy Johnny about the seed. And the seed is the important thing of the fruit, because that will give us the nutrients, everything that we need that's vital for our body. And that's what we need to focus on. We need to eat things that have the seed and that has the fruit of life, because it comes from the earth. Just like we came from the body, our food is the same thing. That's our source. That is our nourishment. So we need to engage in that. So we need to really focus on that. And then when I'm talking about the spirit, because the spirit becomes what thoughts we're our spirit becomes what thoughts we're generating. So if we focus on the wrong thing, that's what our spirit becomes. So that's why I said we need to make the adjustment in our lives and how we need to do that. We need to do that more often and keep that in check. Find the balance for that because that's going to determine what we do from here on out, what food choices we make, because we're feeding into that. So, and we're going to get into more deeper what feeding that type of spirit is. So this is just an outline of what you'll find from me in the future of our podcast that we're going to present. So just understand that aspect. So when we do that, we put ourselves in a better position. So we got to understand what we do, and then our body becomes the food that we eat. So what are you feeding your body? What are you putting in there? That has a very I guess you can say life or death decision that you ever make. Because how do you care about yourself? That's why I said work on yourself. How do you love yourself? How do you care about yourself? You know, a lot of times what drives us to the wrong stuff, what drives us to the wrong choices, the wrong food, because when we have that significant outcome, we like, how did I get here? How did I get, like I was saying, man, I tried to have somebody to check me, you know, when I get too way far beyond my core, what I need to do, check me on it, call me out. But we don't have that in our lives. So we like, how do we get here? And then we like, man, I don't know if I want to do the work to get back where I need to be, to get back to my original state where I need to be, where I can be the most vibrant, the most healthiest, the most fulfilled person that I can be to carry on. And that's our drive. So we got to understand ourselves and put ourselves in those environment that we have the support. You know, that's what I'm here. We're going to have the support. We're going to build the support that we need to make those decisions, to own up to those challenges, you know, come through. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. So we need to work on that daily. So we have affirmation, we'll have different things so we can plug in and we can make this work for ourselves and everyone around us. We want to expand this to your family, expand this to the people that are near and dear to you, because it's so hard when we lose our loved one, especially when we can make a difference. So we need to step up to the plate. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Understand who you are and who you need to be here and how you need to be example to someone else next to you. Like I had example around me. I'm ready to use that now because I sit here and went through the challenges, went through the ups and downs that life brings, you know, different things. And I noticed that when I had the most down part of my life, I was eating more fruits and vegetables. And I look back and was like, wow, because that's the only thing that I desired to eat. And I was doing that as a teenager. You know, we go back to our teenager, we're so up and down with our emotions, so many things that we haven't discovered. And we're just like, wow, where did this feeling where did it come from? And that was one of the things that I had to learn how to express that feeling. But that was one thing that I was dealing with internally. And that was the things that opened up my mind, opened up my heart, because I was like, wow, I had a clear understanding what I need to do through those challenges. But that's another moment. I'll get deep into that. But those just to outline, you know, what we need for ourselves. And we understand what our body, how it needs to operate, because everybody has a different vessel. You know, everything is different for everybody. So it's not always the same, but there's some basic things that we all can tap into, that we all can find what resonate with us. And that's what we need to do. That's your challenge. What resonate with you? Huh? What really is going to work for you? What's going to get your butt off that off that seat and make something happen? We ain't even got into exercise. We ain't got into none of that. Now we're just working on the spiritual, the mental side, and the nourishing of your body. So we got to work on that because we're facing a challenge that, you know, most people are, like I said, they're facing the reality, I need surgery. I need surgery to make these changes. I need surgeries to do this. And we can do it on our own naturally. So we need to understand that there's another way to approach life, and mostly it's working on yourself. So we got to do that. You find more resolve with your life, and you find more happiness because you're like, wow, I did that. I took on that challenge. I did that. And that really raises your vibration because now you understand that, hey, I have more power than I really actually thought because we just didn't exercise it. So we need to practice, 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 practice. And then we bring the stuff into our home so we don't be tempted with all the other stuff. Like I said, your spirit is what your thoughts are. If you're going to bring all the bad junk in your house, then that's where it's going to lead you. So we got to understand that these are basic principles that we can let it work in our favor. Understand, like I said before, the body becomes the food that you eat. And I'm not going to say stuff, and I'm not here to call out names. I'm not making fun of people. So, but just sit on that. Just sit on that. What have you been eating? What has been consuming your thoughts? And how that's been working for you in your life? I'm not here to flex on me, but it's just one of those things that I am very proud of because I didn't have to do this, but I knew I had a mission to do this. I didn't understand the reason, but I gave you the illustration of my two best friends who, you know, could have made me turn down the bad road because, like, back to back, I lost my two best friends back to back in their early 20s. And I'm like 23, 22. And I'm like, wow. I'm asking, why? Why is this happening to me? And it's hard to understand it when you're in that state of mind. But when you step back and you see, I had a purpose. I had a reason to do this. And that's what we need to understand. What is your purpose? What is your reason to get up and fight every day? And that makes it a big difference when you take on those aspects. What are you eating? What are you feeding your mind? Because they work hand in hand. And that helps you in the one way down the street or the other way down the street. So you always have the choice. You always have the choice. And I used to have to be very blunt with myself and I'd be blunt with others, but that's just how I had to be very structured. So it just came out that way. I ain't leave no wiggle room. It's like, man, how do you do that? I'm just like, sometimes I just need that push. So sometimes it come across as very blunt and in your face because I'm like, you got to do it because I'm looking at the end result and the path that you don't want to be down because it only come to our own detriment. So we have to understand life is how we manage it. How we take this ride down the street, do we want the nice smooth ride or we want the bumpy ride? What adventure you want. So you're making your own pathway, set, with the motion of your thoughts and what you're putting in your body. Find a way to meditate, and that's one of the things that I learned early. And I didn't understand. I didn't even know about meditation, but I was doing it and didn't really have a name for it because I would just be so deep in thought. It's like, what can I do? And my thought would take me to another place, another imagination where I can see myself striving, doing better, seeing yourself being successful, seeing yourself being healthy, seeing yourself being abundant. That's what we're striving for. Because right now, with those hindrances that we only see in this frame, in this bodysuit, it's like, what's the point? So we got to open up our mind to really stretch that imagination. I see yourself being where you need to be, where your goals need to be, where you need to be. We don't have no specific diagram, we don't have no specific chart, but it's where it's going to make you feel the most vibrant, the most happy, and the most, I'll say, the most physical comfort that you need for yourself. Because ain't it nice when you can wake up in the morning, get up out of bed, nothing aches? Wouldn't that be wonderful? You're like, man, you haven't felt like that since you was a kid or teenager, where not everything worked, nothing was an issue at that time. So you have to understand, I want to do this, I want to go back, and we set the stage. We set that moment. We set the presence of how we live our life. And that's going to conclude my first show. So I'm going to dive in more about the food aspect, and we're going to tie it in with the spiritual stuff and what we need to do to make life work for us. I just want you to have the background, the story, where I'm coming from, how this is going to change your life, how this is going to help you overcome, because I'm going to come with the energy. I'm coming with the inspiration. So I just need you to come with me, work with me, and we're going to be successful with everything we do in our lives, because that's what I'm here to set for you. All right, thank you for joining me for the Spiritual Health Food Clinic. And like I said, if you want some more information or more, if you have questions about what I'm saying, more insight, email me at ajnaturals17@gmail.com. That's ajnaturals17@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and please don't hesitate. Reach out, because you helps me develop the next podcast, because your question is going to really set the stage of what I know that you need to hear. So that's conclude our first session podcast. And I really appreciate your time and attention for you to come out and listen to me, hear my story. So I just look forward into doing what we need to do to help each other with our community.